All right, welcome to this webinar. My name is Doreen. We are going to be talking about the top 10 frequently asked questions about donor sperm today. I know people are still logging in, but just wanted to let you know we are going to be recording this webinar today. If you've signed up for the webinar, you will be getting a copy of the webinar to your email. And we will be taking questions at the end, so please don't hesitate to put them in as you think of them. Again, we're going to wait a few more minutes. I'm probably going to repeat that again. I see more people are logging in, but welcome. All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Again, we're going to be recording this. Everybody will be getting a copy, and please don't hesitate to give any questions. My name is Doreen Bond. I'm the Client Services Manager here at Fairfax, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 frequently asked questions about donor sperm. We will also be having Morgan Barker moderating at the end for the questions. She's our marketing director. Today, we're going to be covering the most common questions. We're going to go over some donor products as well as talk about the donor search, explain donor categories, donor selection services, and discuss resources, everything that's going to be able to help you when searching for a donor. The first frequently asked question is, what does ID versus non-ID donor mean? ID donors are part of our donor categories. They agree to allow Fairfax to release identifying information to donor-conceived people upon request. No information is provided to the recipients, the purchasers of the sperm, except for the donor-conceived person once they've turned 18 and they're registered in our donor program, or in our ID donor program. Starting in March of 2020, we only began accepting ID donors to allow for the changes that have been happening in the donor community, donor conceived community. The identifying information that's released to donor conceived people includes their name, their contact information. The donors have signed a contract with us for us to be able to release that information. There are some non-ID, they were previously called anonymous donors. They did not agree to release identifying information to donor-conceived people, so they will never have that information released by the cryobank. Beginning in January 2020, non-ID donors are asked each year if they would like to become ID donors. They do remain listed as non-ID on our website. If they change their position, that is updated on the summary profile. When the donor-conceived person requests the ID information for their donor, once they're 18, the process is still the same as the ID donors. We also introduced a new program in March of 2025, which is an ID reserve program. This is also an ID donor, so their information does get released, but the difference is they have an exclusive family limit of 10 families worldwide. To purchase, there is a separate terms of use letter, which is the contract all of our purchasers must sign with us. And we do require a minimum of 3 vials per donor order. Frequently asked question 2 is, what can I see for free on the website versus paid? We have a lot of really great free products that includes the childhood photo, the summary profile, the staff impressions, the donor essay. I'm talking through that. I apologize. The childhood photo is going to show a version of the donor as an adult and of them as a child. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm I messed that up. I apologize. The childhood photo is just a childhood photo. You can also pay for the adult child photo set. That's a paid option. Most of our donors do have the childhood photo. It's one of the first things you see on the donor search. The summary profile is going to summarize all the donor information. Staff impressions are brief impressions from staff who interact with the donors about how they perceive the donor, their personality, um, how they find the donor's characteristics to be. The donor essay is another free product where the donor briefly writes out answers to a question that gives you a good view into the donor's personality. The audio clips, um, both from the donor, which is them answering a question, so you get to hear their voice, as well as them answer um, a question, as well as staff's perceptions as an audio clip of the donor. The medical profile includes the medical history. That's always going to be free. The genetic testing summary is always going to be free and available on the donor's profile. And we do offer Fairfax Face Match, where you can upload a photo. We're going to talk about that later. That matches the photo that you uploaded to the donors that are available. There are more products for purchase. That includes the personal profile on the website, which is more in depth about the donor. The silhouette, which is going to show the side profile of the donor, but blacked out, so it's just the profile of the donor. The adult child photo set, which includes the adult photo of the donor as well as a childhood photo. There are some donors that also offer lifetime series, which shows several photos of the donor from childhood to adulthood to show the progression of them. The full audio interview, which can be downloaded, and the personality type. As a note, not all donors provide adult or lifetime photos. Um, most of them do, I would say 2/3 or more of them do at this point, what's available on our website. Frequently asked question 3, what do I need to consider when choosing a donor? We would generally recommend that you sit down and create a list of characteristics that you value and are important to you, like the physical characteristics like hair color, height, the ethnic background, their personality, their education, the donor category. Um, I know we have astrological signs as information that we collect. If you want to find a Capricorn donor, if you're looking for an Aries, that's information that you can search through. Um, we have over 380 donors to choose from. So anything to narrow it down is going to be able to help you when you're starting your search. Important information to consider is the donor brand codes, the donor categories, and the specimen type. The donor brands, they're all under the Fairfax Cryobank umbrella, but we do also have donors available from banks that we acquired. We acquired Cryogenic Laboratories in Minnesota in 2002 and Pacific Reproductive Services in California in 2016. You will see that on our website as donor brands. It might say CLI for Cryogenic Laboratories and PRS, or it will say a P after the donor's number to designate that it is from Pacific Reproductive Services. Is frequently asked question number 4, is there a tool I can use to help me search for a donor based on physical appearance? Yes, there is. We offer Fairfax Face Match, which I mentioned a little earlier. This is a interactive way to help you select your donor. It uses sophisticated mathematical technology to compare the shape of your facial features to find a resemblance between the photo you upload and the adult photo of our donors. So, for example, if you upload a photo of Leonardo DiCaprio or a Bad Bunny, it's going to look for characteristics from either of those photos, whichever one you upload, to match what donors, and it's going to show you a high, medium, or low scale. High matches occur infrequently. but it'll show what matches closest to what you have uploaded. We also offer donor selection services. We offer photo match services. There's two options on the photo match request. You can either have a list of donors that you're looking at, 8 donors or fewer, and provide us with a few photos. We'd be able to select the one. It'd be one of our team members who's trained in this. We'd be able to select the donor that matches what you have requested. So if you submit a photo and you're saying, I want them to be over 5'8", I guess that's not tall, 6 foot, whatever, we're able to investigate that for you and provide you a list of donors that we think match what you're asking for. You can and match the photos that you're asking for as well. You can also select the specific criteria that are important to you, including the ancestry, your preferred preparation type of the vials, which we're going to talk about later too, the donor's height, weight, skin tone, eye and hair color, as well as any other characteristics you feel important. You can also provide photos for that too, and we'll match up the donor with what you're requesting. That is a paid service. We do have selection consultations where you are able to provide an in-depth or we provide an in-depth counseling service for clients who need assistance in selecting a donor. All of our client services team is trained to answer questions about donors and to assist with selection. So this is not a paid service. This is just something we are able to offer by you calling our client services team to ask the questions. But you'd be working one-on-one with the client service specialist to try to answer your questions, try to help you narrow down from what you from maybe the list of donors that you've selected or answer questions about a specific donor. Frequently asked question 5, what vial types are available to choose from? Fairfax Cryobank has several vial types. They are based on the insemination procedure that you will be having. We offer IUI vials. Our premium ones are pre-washed with at least 10 million total motile cells. So they're washed. The seminal fluid was removed before it was frozen. Generally, one vial is used for one procedure. We also offer ICI premium vials, which are unwashed. So the seminal fluid was not removed before freezing. Those also have 10 million total motile cells. If you're working with a clinic, they must have the capability of washing the specimen if it's going to be used in an IUI procedure. We recommend one vial for one procedure. We also offer art vials. Those are prepared IUI or ICI, meaning washed or unwashed, and they have at least 6 million total motile cells. We can use one for an IVF procedure. You can combine 2 for an in-office procedure or home insemination. We also offer ICSI vials. Those are prepared washed or unwashed. Those are generally used for an IVF procedure. Frequently asked question number 6, can I do the insemination at home? The short answer is yes. We are able to ship to home addresses as long as we have the correct paperwork on file for you. You'd have to contact our client services team by calling the main number, which we'll go over in a little bit. And we'll be able to assist you with making sure you have the correct paperwork, that you have the correct address that you need to send it to, when you need to send it, if you need a 2-week tank, if you need a needleless device for insemination, we're going to be able to assist you with that. Frequently asked question 7, what vial type can I use when doing a home insemination? We recommend, there's a lot. All of the vials are going to have semen cells, so all of them can be used for a home insemination. The main recommendation are the 1 ICI premium vials. Those are the unwashed ones. Or the 2 ICI art vials. Those can be combined for one procedure. You can also use the IUI washed or the 2 IUI art as well, but we do generally recommend the ICI unwashed premium vials. If you're working with a clinic or if you are getting advice from a medical professional, we recommend reviewing all this information with them as well. What vial type should I use for an IUI procedure? That's an intrauterine insemination procedure. If you're doing it in an office, we'd recommend the 1 IUI premium. That is the washed vial. You can also get the 2 IUI art vials to be combined for an IUI procedure, or the 1 ICI premium if your clinic offers washing. Not all clinics are able to thaw the vial and wash it before the procedure. Some are. That's a question for your clinic to see if they are able to offer that. Or you can use the 2 ICI art vials. Again, if your clinic can wash, those can be combined for an IUI procedure. What vial types should I use for an ICI procedure? If you're doing an ICI in office, again, there's a lot of options. We'd recommend the ICI Premium, which is a 10 million unwashed sample, or the 2 ICI art vials. Those again can be combined for an ICI procedure. You can also use the washed IUI Premium or the 2 IUI art vials as well. Again, we rarely recommend that you check with your clinic to determine which option is best for you. Based on what's available with the donor and what procedure you're going to be doing. What vial types can I use for IVF or ICSI procedures? IVF with or without ICSI vial types that you can use. With or without ICSI, you can use, with ICSI, you can use 1 ICSI unwashed, or 1 ICI art, or 1 ICI premium. And it looks like those are the same options for without ICSI. But again, we do generally recommend talking to your clinic, making sure that you are getting the correct preparation type. Bonus frequently asked questions. How can Fairfax help me with planning my family? Donor vials sell out very quickly. To ensure that your donor is available, we do recommend purchasing vials when they are available. I have seen donors become available, have 20, 30 vials, and those are sold out before my shift is over. They can sell out in hours or minutes. It really just depends. So we do recommend purchasing and planning ahead for future pregnancies and future cycles. As long as the vials have never been shipped from our facilities, we do offer options for your unused vials. They can be returned for 50% of the original purchase price if you are no longer needing them. If you are wanting to change them for another donor, at Fairfax, you are able to. There is an exchange fee of $160, and you are responsible for any price differences between your original purchase and the new vials. But if you, for example, purchase vials for your second choice and then your first choice becomes available, then you are able to request an exchange and work with our client services team to make that happen. We do also work with several third-party financing companies to assist you with planning ahead for pregnancies. We work with CapEx MD, Future Families, Patient Fi. Those are all financing companies. And then we are able to send a link for payment that includes options for Klarna and Affirm, which splits the payment up into four payments, so you're not paying all at once. We also work with progeny coverage. This covers up to 4 vials and 1 shipping fee. Inventory for our vials changes daily, so we cannot guarantee that the donor vials that are available today, right now, are going to be available in the future for you. Bonus frequently asked question 2, do you ship internationally? We do. We have a team that works with our international clients. You are able to reach out directly to them at global@fairfaxcryobank.com. We also have a team that answers calls for people from the UK, and a representative currently that speaks German. So we are able to help out with a variety of options for shipping internationally. bonus frequently asked question number 13. What kind of monthly packages are available? We offer unlimited access packages. We're also going to have a code for one at the end of this webinar. But these offer more access to the website. We went over some of the options earlier between the what's free and what's paid. But these are packages where you pay one fee and get everything free for 90 days, or after you pay that, get everything for 90 days available to view for the donors. There are 4 levels of access to choose from, and all the information saved to your account will remain available forever. The one that really gives you the most bang for your buck is the Club Fairfax, especially if you're planning on shipping multiple times. Our full access with Club Fairfax gives you full access to the website for $499. It also includes 2 free shipping fees. Our shipping does start or go up to $395 for the overnight. So it does pay for itself. And if you are planning on purchasing multiple vials, if you buy 5 vials, you will get the 6th vial for free anytime over the next 12 months. So there are ways to use that to make sure that you really are getting your money's worth for that. We do also, if you are taking your time with your search or want to look at all the information and just want to pay for the full access to the website, it's $149 for the 90 days of full access. We have several resources available, the Fairfax blog on our website. We do send out newsletters, and we have family forums where you are able to connect with other people who have used the same donor, or if you have general questions. Those are all available through links on our website as well. Now that you have all of that information, you are able to choose your donor and place your order. Our client services team is available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as 11:30 to 3:30 on Saturdays. You're able to reach us by phone at 1-800-404-9186 or info@fairfaxcryobank.com, as well as our international clients can reach us at the global@fairfaxcryobank.com email address. And if you have any questions, please submit them now. We do have this promo code that I'm going to keep this screen up for the frequently asked questions Fairfax 2025 so that you can get $149 off a full unlimited access package.
Thank you, Doreen. So I just wanted to go through some of these questions that I've already started to trickle in while you were doing your presentation. You can continue to put them into the question panel. As we have time, we'll go through those. Why is Fairfax moving away from non-ID donors?
That is such a great question. We have been working with donor-conceived persons who are now becoming adults. Fairfax Cryobank was started in 1986, so people who purchased from us are now adults, and they have we've worked with them to try to figure out a way to ensure that our donor conceived people are receiving information about their donors. Um, a lot of times, donor conceived people want that information for their donors, and we want to be able to provide information for them. That is why we have ID donors since 2020. We've been working to only have new donors become ID so that we can share information with donor conceived people.
Does this discount code apply to the purchase of vials of sperm?
Yes, you can use it to purchase vials either online or over the phone. It will take $149 off.
Cool. Let's see, what changes after thawing if the sample was frozen without seminal plasma or the seminal plasma?
Um, now I'm not a medical professional, so I'm going to answer this as best I can. But they are prepared washed or unwashed depending on the insemination procedure that you are going to be having. If the procedure is the intracervical insemination. It generally has a seminal fluid because your body processes some of that out. The IUI vials that are washed are injected during an IUI procedure into your uterus. And so they have that seminal fluid washed out. So it's just the semen cells. Again, that's my understanding of it, but a great question for your physician if you're working with one to determine which preparation type is best for you.
If Okay, here's a question for you. If I already purchased IUI premium vials, can I swap these to IUI art? Would the price be difference be credited back?
That's a great question. So our swaps, if you're going from a higher price vial to a lesser price vial, it remains as a credit on your account that can be used for shipping, for handling, for storage fees, but it does stay as a credit on your account.
Okay. And what if someone is also asking about having, if one person buys the sperm, can it be transferred to their partner for use at a later date? Similar question.
Yeah, absolutely. So the terms of use letter that we require all clients to sign prior to purchasing has an option on page 7 or 8. I'm so sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. Where there's an option for a designated individual. And under that, you're able to select if that designated individual is able to access the account and use it for their own chances for pregnancy. Um, so there's one account holder, and then you can put your partner on that page with the designated individual. And if they are selected the right way, there's no transferring of it. You both are on the account, and it can either be shipped out under you or your partner's name.
Great. What type of genetic tests do you do for donors?
That's a great question. I believe we still have a genetic webinar on our blog that you can search for too, where our genetic counselor goes more in depth into that.
Hmm.
But we do offer currently a um, genetic panel screening test of about 500 genetic traits. Those are specifically looking at pediatric recessive traits that are passed down. Um, and that is always available on the donor's profile. There are some donors that are going to have less than that full access or the full genetic screening. Just depends on when the donor joined the program and what genetic panel we were offering at that time.
And then is there a storage cost? We want to purchase several vials for possible future siblings.
Yes, there is. It's $50 per month at this time. We do also offer prepaid options ranging from 6 months to 10 years. If you are purchasing a bunch of vials at once, for example, if you purchase 6 at once, you do get 1 year of free storage.
Great. Can you explain it how Fairfax tracks and enforces family units for each donor, especially when an offspring may be born internationally through multiple clinics? How do you prevent overly large half sibling networks while respecting the 25 family guideline? Sorry, that's a long one.
That's a great question, though. That is something that we do track and we take very seriously. Specifically for international clients, different countries have different restrictions on donors. For example, Australia donors are exclusive to Australia. Those are not available for any other clients. So we abide by the regulations per for the country. We track the family units. Um, and we also request and require all that our clients who are purchasing with us to report any pregnancies or births. That does help us track that information and provide that best information for tracking purposes. We do also monitor the geographical regions that we are shipping to ensure that not too many are in the same geographic region.
Could you, the next one says, could you touch on more about what was said earlier about home insemination and helping with syringes?
So we do offer needleless syringes as part of the orders. If you're shipping to a home address, that should be offered with every single order. Um, that's shipping to a home address, but that's something to request at the time of the order. I do know there are insemination kits that you can get at a CVS or a pharmacy, um, but it's up to you what you want to use for your procedure at home.
All right. And then what kind of vial do you need to use for IVF?
I do always recommend that you talk to your clinic about that, your IVF provider about that. But almost any of our vials can be used for an IVF procedure. It's my understanding it requires a smaller amount of cells. But again, just checking with your clinic is going to be the best option.
And then once we place an order, how long can we store the vials, particularly for future pregnancies in 2 to 5 years?
We are able to store them as long as you want to store them. We offer storage month to month or the prepaid options. Um, but it does need to remain. We recommend storing them here at Fairfax. So that way you have more options in the future if you wanted to exchange or return them. But they need to remain cryogenically frozen, which we offer storage at all of our labs and facilities here.
And then if you store multiple vials, is it a flat fee of 50 per month or 50 per vial?
Great question. It is $50 per month. It's a flat fee.
Great. Um, how do we verify a donor's medical history beyond self-report?
Um, that's a great question. So the medical history is self-reported. However, the donors do have a very strenuous screening policy, or we have a screening policy for our donors. Less than 1% of all who apply to become donors with us actually make it through the donor screening process. They do also have a third party physical. They also have a psychological evaluation. And we ask the donor the same question in a variety of different ways to ensure that we're getting an answer over and over again as they come in to make deposits.
And then is the return policy credited back to your account or is it returned via like the payment method?
For returning vials, as long as they have not left our facility to get that 50% refund back, it can be done to a credit card or a check.
Okay, great. Can a donor donate multiple times at multiple banks, thereby avoiding the family limits? How is that being regulated?
So we do work with some major cryobanks to ensure we have a program or information that we share with them to ensure that the donors are not donating at different banks. Um, they sign a contract with us to state that they are donating to just us exclusively. And if we do find out about any cases about that, um, that donor immediately becomes reviewed by a medical team and can be sibling use only. So only if you have a reported birth, you'd be able to purchase that. That's very rare though, but we do work with the other cryobanks to ensure that we are able to monitor that.
Um, Sorry, a lot of questions coming in.
It's okay. That's great.
Well, we have another question about storage and then timelines for transferring it to the clinic. So they want to know what time frame they should order it for shipment to their clinic for IUI cycles.
Perfect. So in the continental US, we ship very quickly. We offer overnight or 2 business day shipping. That ships Monday through Friday and arrives Monday through Friday. So if you are trying to ship out on Friday for overnight, it's going to arrive Monday the next business day. We are sometimes able to arrive on Saturdays for home deliveries, but that depends on exactly where we are shipping, and is a higher fee. But we ship very quickly because we want to keep the specimen frozen. They are shipped in 7-day cryogenic tanks. You can also upgrade to a 2-week tank. That's an additional $50. But we ship very quickly so that you can have it for your procedure because those are scheduled and very time sensitive.
Speaking of shipping, some people want to know how much it costs to ship the vials.
So it is $3.95 for overnight. and I want to say 320 for 2 business day. I apologize if that's wrong, I think. But there is a $45 handling fee for removing it from storage if you already have vials in storage. There's also, if you wanted to upgrade the tank, a $50 tank fee for that. If you wanted that upgrade, they're always sent in a 7-day tank, which because we ship quickly is usually sufficient. But if you're trying to ship to a home address and want some wiggle room to make sure that it arrives, then we do recommend that 2-week tank. Shipping internationally is a little bit different because we're working with customs, um, and we're working with your clinic to ensure that it arrives as needed.
And what about donors? This one is about donors doing additional genetic testing if the client is requesting it.
Mhm. Yes, so we do offer additional genetic testing. You would be working with our genetic team to see if we are able to provide that service. The fees range a little bit, but they're generally $1,000 for that. And that can take several weeks, up to a month or two, to get the results back. But that is taken on a one by one basis.
How do you coordinate the fertility clinic sending, shipping the vials, and how does that work?
So we work directly with the clients. Generally, you're working with your clinic and they'll let you know when you need your vials to arrive. Um, we are again able to ship very quickly out. Um, but we don't coordinate directly with the clinics unless they're shipping internationally.
Many fertility clinics say it's important for the CMV to be negative. What exactly does that mean? If CMV is positive, how does that affect the mother?
That's a great question. Part of that is a medical answer. So again, I'm going to answer this as best as I can. CMV stands for cytomylovirus. I can never say that, so I apologize that I butchered that. That is a virus that most people interact with. It presents like a cold. So most people are unaware that they interacted with it. But it is in the chickenpox family. So once you have interacted with CMV, you are either CMV negative or CMV positive. Well, once you have interacted with it, you are CMV positive. If you have not interacted with it, you're in CMV negative. That is something a lot of clinics request that you test for to help you narrow down. If you are CMV negative, the general recommendation is that you purchase donors that are CMV negative. If you are CMV positive, you can purchase either option. Um, but it's my understanding there can be side effects when a pregnant woman interacts with CMV for the mother and the baby. Um, but that is definitely a question to talk to your clinic. Say, do I need to get tested for this? What do you recommend? And start from there.
Great. I have one of the reserve donors in my. I see there's a $5,000 charge. Does this include any type of vials or similar to the premium fee?
So the ID reserve, I'd probably recommend that you purchase that over the phone because we do require you to purchase 3 vials for your first purchase. So that's $15,000 for that to reserve the slot and get the 3 vials. It's any preparation type that's available for the donor.
Great. Do you ship to a client's home, and what is the process and requirements for that?
Sure. So it depends on what city and state we're shipping to. There's different paperwork, but once we have that paperwork to ship to a home address, our client services team is able to assist you with purchasing the vial or shipping out of your storage. It's shipped by FedEx. We do require someone over the age of 18 to be there to sign for the package. It is a little hard to give you a time of day when it arrives because it's going to be dependent on your exact FedEx team who's delivering it to you. So we generally tell our clients that it'll arrive between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Tracking information that gets sent out may be more specific, but it's able to be shipped directly there once we have all the paperwork to get that set.
Great. Speaking of home insemination, what product do you recommend for having a home insemination if you purchased IUI premium?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What product do you recommend having if you're doing home insemination with IUI premium?
I'm not sure what you're asking about for the product, I guess. We generally recommend IUI or ICI for home insemination. If they're asking about the insemination device, like a
Mhm.
syringe,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah, I can't really make any recommendations for that. We do send a needleless syringe upon request to you that fits in the vial. But I know there's other companies that exist out there with other insemination um, devices for you if you wanted to purchase.
Okay. Can you just reiterate what is the best file type for home inseminations?
We'd recommend ICI Premium or two ICI Art vials. You can also use the IUI or the IUI Art, but the recommended type is the ICI Premium.
Great. If a couple wants multiple children, how many times can a selected donor sperm be used?
I'm sorry, it cut out a little bit, Morgan.
If a couple wants multiple children, how many times can a selected donor sperm be used?
So one vial is generally used for one insemination procedure. So if you are getting one ICI Premium, that's for one procedure. Um, it's it's been told to me that it can take up to 4 attempts to achieve a pregnancy. That also depends on your fertility journey. I have spoken to clients who got pregnant on their first try. I have spoken to clients who are keeping or trying and trying and trying. It really there's a lot of factors that go into that. Um, but it can take several attempts for that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Great. Okay, shifting gears a bit, what is the percentage of African American donors? Is it common to have our African Americans donate in your bank if you do not have any way of marketing to this demographic? So, as part of the marketing team, we do currently do a lot to recruit to diverse communities. We have 7 growing sites across the US, and we always try to reach different communities. So, that's something we're actively working on. In terms of the other part, Doreen?
Um, I know that I'm trying to look on our website. I apologize. Like you said, we're trying to get donors
Mhm.
from a variety of backgrounds, and my phone is moving really slow. Um, there's a couple search options for that. You can check a specific African background. Um, sorry, I'm trying to look. I apologize. But our availability does change every day. So the information I'm giving you right now um, can change. I'm seeing about 47 donors that are available right now that might match what you're looking for. But again, you're going to have to investigate that a little bit further to see if what we offer is correct for you. Morgan, are you looking too?
No, I'm going through the questions. You guys are keeping me too busy.
Okay, sorry.
Mhm. So right now, out of the, let's see, 468 total donors, I'm showing 47 on the website that are part of the Black category when I searched for that ancestry. So like Doreen said, it does vary every day. We're always working on new ways to kind of reach that audience. So it's a work in progress.
That's correct. And again, it changes every day.
Mhm.
There could be 50 tomorrow. There could be 46 if the donor vials sell out for that particular donor. Our search does show not just the donors that exist on our donor in our program, but only those that have vials available. So if the donor vials sell out, it's going to show less.
Okay, we also have a question. Someone wants to know if Ordering vials is very sensitive and emotional. For the consultation, will the person I speak to be very knowledgeable and understanding uh, to your ignorance, meaning asking a lot of questions?
I have trained, I've worked with my team to make sure that we are aware that we are speaking with clients who are trying to make huge life-changing decisions. Who you pick for your donor changes your life. Um, so they've all been trained to have empathy, and they all have been trained to help you as best they can. If they can't answer your question, we have representatives who have been here. I've personally been here about 6.5 years. I have other people who've been here even longer than that, um, who are able to help answer questions to the best of our ability or provide advice. Um, our goal is to try to streamline the process for purchasing donor sperm, because it's complicated. You have a lot of information that you're learning about. You have a lot of decisions to make that add up. Um, and we know I didn't know anything about donor sperm until I started working here. It's a very big journey in educating yourself on the product, and we want to help you, educate you, help you, direct you in the right, um, direct you to where you can get your answers for the questions that you have. But again, I'm not medically trained, so I can't really always answer the medical questions that you may have. We may refer that you talk to your licensed medical professional to answer any medical questions, but we'll try to answer everything that we can.
Great. Are we in the US or Canada? And when doing home insemination, how do you keep the vial in the refrigerator?
Great questions. Our corporate is based out of Virginia, so we're in the US. We do work with distributors in Canada. So if you are a Canadian client, you would be wanting to purchase from your distributors, um, which are probably on our Canadian version of our website, Can-Am Cryo. Um, I'm losing my mind. I'm sorry. Canada Cryobank, Origin Cryobank, to help you purchase if you're in Canada. For shipping to a home address and keeping it frozen, it's shipped in a cryogenic tank. And that tank is filled with vapor nitrogen that keeps the specimen at the appropriate temperature to keep it frozen. That's why we say those tanks last for 7 days. There's also 2-week tanks that can hold a little bit more than the specimen at the correct temperature for a longer time. But no, they would not go in the refrigerator or the freezer.
Okay. And what does the PRS mean after the donor number?
So Pacific Reproductive Services is a cryobank that we acquired in 2016. These are donors that were part of the PRS program, that are now under the Fairfax Cryobank umbrella, and they are able to be purchased from us directly.
Great. And then what about donors' locations? Are they from Virginia or are they all from all over the US?
We have labs in different parts of the US, so they are all from all over the US.
Great. And then what is the amount of spermatozoids per vial? Is it enough to fecundate? I don't know if I'm saying that wrong.
Um,
That number is like 4,000 miles or millions per fecundation. I don't even know that word.
I am not sure, but if you call my team, I'd be happy to help you figure that out, and try to get an answer for you. Um, we do our quality standard by the total modal cell count of the vials. So you'll hear us say this is a 10 million total modal cells for the IUI premium and ICI premium. The art vials are 6 million. That's how we, I guess, explain the volume of the vial.
And then is it possible to know how old a donor is currently? So far, I only see age of donation, but I assume that they would have donated years ago.
So that's a really great question. We do not release the age of that the donors are currently. We just release the age at the donation, which is on the website, the age range there. Um, as far as the age of the vials, all of our vials are going to be at least 6 months old. And that is because we're an FDA regulated program. When a donor creates a deposit, that deposit has to be in an FDA required 6-month quarantine period while we're doing infectious disease testing. Once that 6 months period is up and the testing has come back that there are no infectious disease, then we are able to sell the vial. So at minimum, all vials are 6 months old. But frequently they are a little bit older than that. Sometimes they are just released and sold. Um, but it really depends.
What does a reported pregnancy mean?
So that means that's going to show on the website and the donor's profile. There'll be a yes if there is a pregnancy that's been reported for that particular donor.
Do you guys guarantee the mobility of spermatozoids? Is that informational available when purchasing?
The motility. Okay, so that's a great question.
Mhm.
Um, that information is kind of generalized. The range is, I think, between like 25 to 35% motility because the specimen's frozen and then thawed. That's perfectly average for a frozen vial. But again, our quality standard is strictly done by the total motile cell count of the vial.
And then how do I pick the right report to present to my doctor before buying?
Um, I That's a great question. It probably depends a little bit on your clinic and what they are requesting. Um, I have not gone through this process myself, so I would expect it to depend on your clinic. I would probably recommend the genetic testing as well as our CMV status and the information that's generally available on the medical profile to review that with your physician.
And then how often are the donors being checked? Is information on the website fully up to date?
So the donors that are still active are still coming in on a regular basis. Any information that's been updated is going to show on the donor's profile as well. All the profiles remain indefinitely on the website. Any like medical life updates are going to be in the summary profile. We reach out to donors that are no longer in the program every year, so they get requests to update their information every year, and that includes like their contact information if they're an ID donor, as well as any life changes. Sometimes you'll see um, like they graduated from their program that they were in college for, or they became this, or they're now a lawyer, or whatever. That update will be in the summary profile.
Okay, great. I think we have time for one final question. There are some great ones in there that we just did not have enough time to get to. So please contact client services. Doreen, if you want to progress to the next slide with your or the contact info one.
Uh,
Where is
this
it?
one. Yeah.
There we go. So, our team, well, the client services team is very helpful. So, after this final question, if there is anything that you think of, please don't hesitate to call or email the team. And so, basically, we have one more question. Will the bank notify families if donors develop a genetic or medical issue after purchase? What medical conditions and genetic disorders are screened for in donors?
Great, great, great question. So as I mentioned before, we do screen for the genetic testing for the pediatric recessive genes. That's we do screen for a lot of genetic traits. You'll see it's up to like 500, I think, at this point, 500 and some change on the donors that have the full genetic panel testing. Um, and we take medical reports very seriously. If you have conceived a donor, have a donor conceived child with us, and there's a medical report made from you, if you have a medical report, please, please, please give us a call. Our medical team will review that information. If there is a report that is taken from a donor, conceived child, or from a donor, if a donor from their annual update, or if they have something happen and they reach out to us too, the same process is the same. What we do is have our medical team review everything immediately. We stop sales, and our medical team is able to determine if that is something that is on the paternal side from the donor or on the maternal side from the mother, um, or if it's something that just occurs sporadically, like ADHD. I don't believe there's a specific gene for that, but something that we can't necessarily pinpoint. If that's something that is determined that would not create a healthy baby, that donor is no longer able to be sold unless it's for sibling pregnancies. That donor is then restricted and not able to be sold to the general public. And anybody who has purchased that donor, we reach out to the physicians as well as clients who have purchased that donor. We do have a genetic counselor on staff who is able to answer questions in cases like that and handles that and works with the medical team.
Great. Thanks, Doreen.
Absolutely. Well, again, everybody will be getting a copy of this, and please don't hesitate to call our team or reach out with any questions to our email. We do also have a chat available with representatives during business hours as well.
Thank you.